What I'm going to need is one volunteer, okay? And so the point is just to demonstrate a little mini MI, a little interview. This usually goes no longer than 10 minutes, usually 7 or 8 minutes. Want to address a target behavior of some sort. If you can all kind of imagine, if you can think of a client that you work with and a challenge that you faced with this person. I'm only going to talk to one person right now, but it's going to be something that in our small groups we're going to be talking more about. So I would like for everybody to try to come up with a client that you work with, okay? Think about them and just try to get them in your mind. Somebody that you understand quite well, okay? That you think you do anyway, at least, right? I mean, like you know them, and I mean, ideally it would be a client that maybe in the beginning you were like, wow, you don't know where they're coming from or what's going on with them, but then you worked with them for a while, and now you feel like you've really gotten to know them quite well, okay? So that is something that I would like all of you to kind of start to think about and start to get in your mind. And again, you're going to be using that later on. But right now, I need just one person who's willing to be that client in front of the entire group on camera. So I understand it can be a little bit intimidating. But it's not just for the purposes of right now demonstrating something. It's actually when we do these exercises and getting used to doing role plays and getting comfortable doing this in front of other people is important so that we can develop our skills later on. I mentioned that these are the methods. These are the ways that we practice without actually having to be with our clients, which is also very important. But the thing about that is that we don't have people watching us, and we don't have people giving us feedback. And so this is really an invaluable process that I'm hoping to do right now for you, but then I'm hoping that you will replicate that you're going to be doing this in your own practice, in your supervision groups, okay? That you're going to be in your agencies, doing role plays, stopping and bouncing ideas off each other, okay? And that whatever nerves you have about doing that, that you just know that it gets better. This stuff is, they say it's like one of the biggest fears that people have, right? Is speaking in front of others, like public speaking. And I can tell you that, I still get nervous, but that for me, like I am a very shy person, okay? And when I first started talking in front of a group of people, I was in undergrad, and I was the films coordinator for the Student Programs Board at Boise State University. So I got to show movies, and I had to stand up on stage and introduce the movie. And I would dissociate when I stood up. I was so nervous that I would stand up on the stage, and I would keep my knees bent so that I didn't pass out, and all I had to say was, this film is being brought to you by the Films Committee of the Student Programs Board, and next week we're going to be showing this other movie, and so please come back. Like, that's all I had to say, that was it. And I would like almost pass out. Like I would, that feeling, that dissociating feeling when you're outside of your body and you're kind of like floating around in the room, like that's how I felt. So believe me when I tell you that I really understand and have experienced anxiety, okay, particularly around doing this kind of stuff, okay, and that like I say, I'm still nervous every time I talk in front of people, but it gets better, and it really is just purely a matter of practice. Sometimes it may take more practice for you than others, but with practice you can do it. And I encourage you to take that on. Think of it as a target behavior if you want, but being able to do a little role play or something, something like a role play used to frighten me as well. I mean, like the idea of like performing in front of a group of people, like very, very nerve-wracking, okay? And you may think that you didn't get into the arts or you didn't get into drama and that's not your thing, but it's actually a skill that for clinicians is critical. It's really, really helpful to be able to do that, okay? To be able to do a demonstration in front of a group of your colleagues and then engage in this interactive discussion and feedback process. Have people tell you, and we're going to practice giving feedback to each other. How do we tell each other when, you know, you're doing something that I think is not in keeping with this approach? And how am I going to talk to you about that, and then in a supportive way, and then encourage you to maybe try something else? Without, again, and it's all about doing it in a way that's supportive and not in a way that makes you feel badly about it, because it just doesn't do any good. It doesn't do any good to make people feel bad about themselves, okay, whether it's our clients or whether it's our colleagues. So, all right, so having said that, I'm wondering at this point if we've got anybody that has a client that and would be willing to come up and do a little role play. Yeah? Good. All right, come on. And what's your name?
Anna.
Anna. Okay, so Anna, everybody, we're all over her right now. Right? Thank you, Anna. Nice to meet you. All right. Okay. Bring out a couple of chairs. And we can sit. Let's see how this is going to work. Now, Anna, I'm going to have you sign a little form, okay?
Okay.
Right there. Just right.
Okay.
Okay, and so, and Anna, do you have in mind a particular client? Thank you.
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Narrow it down.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to be my client.
Okay,
Right?
great.
Is
Yes.
that what you need to do?
Yes, and if you could tell us just a little bit about your client before we start. Let's actually, you know what? Do you want to sit here? And that way I can talk to them.
Sure.
Yeah, just
That might be better.
all right. So, do you want to just tell us a little bit about your client before we start?
Okay, my client is a father of 4 boys
Okay.
who has recently been diagnosed with a mood disorder,
Okay. What mood disorder?
bipolar.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you know if it's 1 or 2? Just if like.
I think it's 2.
Okay, it's probably 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so father of 4, recently diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Mhm.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about interactions with him so far.
Ooh. Interactions are varied
Okay.
depending on how he's feeling.
Okay.
Sometimes he's able to engage in family. Sometimes he's able to engage in individual
So
counseling.
you're doing family and individual counseling.
It tends to be home.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes, let's see, he's very me-focused.
Okay.
He's very focused on his needs,
Okay.
although he says that he wants to focus on his children's needs.
Okay. So he has a hard time. And is he single dad, or is it the mother
Yes,
that's there?
he's
Or
single
so
dad,
single
and he adopted these boys.
Oh wow, interesting. Okay. All right. And just what are their ages roughly?
Teenage.
Okay, teenagers. Okay, interesting. He adopted these kids, and he's a single dad.
Mm-hmm.
Was he single when he adopted them?
He sure was.
Huh. All right. So this is a little bit of a different. This is not your. I mean, this is not a very common situation, really. Where he's okay. So, all right. And what is it that he is there for? Like, what is he? Is it because of this diagnosis? What is he like? What are the target behaviors that you might be working on?
I think a lot of it is parenting skills
Okay.
in conjunction with his disorder.
Okay.
So trying really hard not to get set off easily
Okay.
when his kids make mistakes.
Okay. So anger, like just angry outbursts, like not yelling at his kids.
Yes.
Okay. So we can think about parenting skills, but yelling at your kids is a nice measurable thing, right? Okay. Okay. So he doesn't want to, and so he's already identified that he. And how long have you been with him?
2 years.
Oh my gosh, you've been working with him forever. Okay.
Maybe this is too hard of a case.
No, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. No, in fact, it's great because you know him very well. And so I think what will be good for us to do is if you can think back to when you first started working with him.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And because my guess is you've been working with him for 2 years. So one of the things that one of the things that that I should point out is that we don't, like, when do we not use MI? We talked about trauma. It's not a trauma therapy, okay? It's also, we tend to use it in the beginning to engage somebody, to start to address the target behavior. But if you've been working with somebody for 2 years, you shouldn't just be using MI for 2 years, okay? MI is a brief intervention, okay? It's to engage somebody, it's to identify target behavior, start addressing that target behavior. But once that person's on board, and you're working on it, and there's no like real resistance, and you're just working on stuff, and it's just and he's just like, yeah, I mean, we're just working on parenting. I mean, not that parenting is easy. It's just that we're working on parenting, and it's not about about me talking to you, or that I don't think I need to work on my parenting. But like, once I've accepted that, yeah, I really need some more parenting skills, and you're the person to help me with it, and great, let's do it. At that point, we don't use a lot of the MI stuff anymore. Like, I still want to be MI adherent. I'm still going to use empathy. I'm still going to use a lot of the principles. But in terms of what MI is, like, it's not designed to be a long-term therapy for specific skill development. So, it's a great case because you're going to know this guy really well. But what I'd like to do is back up to like the very beginning. Was he resistant at all when he first came in? No. Okay. Like, he's like there. He's like, hey, I need to work on. I need some parenting skills.
He was pretty much like, here I am. Let me talk on and on about myself incessantly for as long as you'll listen.
Wow.
But I need parenting skills. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about.
Okay. So this may end up being a demonstration of something very specific, which is the directive piece.
Okay.
Getting him to talk about, identifying a very specific target behavior. I mean, and focusing on that target behavior. Okay. So we can do that. Meanwhile, let's all still, and I want you to be, I want us to focus on this, but then let's also try to come up with like a case where, kind of a more classic case where somebody's coming in and they're not sure they want to be there or work with you, kind of thing. Okay? Do you have anybody like that?
Nope.
No? Well, you must be.
No.
Maybe I should be the client and you should be the
No.
therapist. Maybe that's the way we should do this thing. You're obviously doing something very well.
I've had most of my cases have been open for quite a while.
Quite a
so,
while. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. We'll run with this. We'll give it 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. We'll run with it. But if we're not finding, if there's no resistance, and it's just about directing him in the right towards wanting to work on something, then we'll see how far we get with it. Okay.
Okay.
Isn't it though underlining resistance because he will redirect the topic where he wants it to go?
Yeah. Is there avoidance here? Is he actually avoiding it? Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good
And
point.
also, I think a lot of times this gentleman will direct the focus on his children's behavior without acknowledging his role in their behavior.
Good. And good.
So the resistance sometimes is in admitting that
Yes.
he is the problem.
Okay,
Right.
excellent. Yeah.